Before we install the two serial ATA hard drives into the 3.5-inch bays, let's talk about IDE hard drives. If your motherboard has an IDE controller and you want to install an old-style IDE hard drive, please go to www.homepcbuilder.com/IDE for instructions on configuring the jumpers on the IDE drive. If you have a serial ATA hard drive, you don't need to configure any jumpers. We're installing two serial ATA hard drives into our case. The first is a 1 TB drive, and the second is a 250 GB drive. To install the hard drives, we have to remove the hard drive cage from the case. It's held in by 8 thumb screws, 4 per side, and it slides out the front of the case. There is also a bracket for an optional fan that we won't be using. We'll install the 1 TB drive into the top bay and the 250 GB drive into the middle bay, making sure the power and data connections will be facing the back of the case. This hard drive cage comes with special long screws. The cage is much wider than a typical hard drive cage, so the screws have to reach further in. We'll put 2 screws per drive on one side, leaving them a little loose. Turn the cage over and put 2 more screws per drive. Tighten them down. And then tighten the other side. The reason for leaving the screws loose at first is to let the drive move just enough so we can get all of the screws in. We'll slide the hard drive cage back in the front of the case and secure it with the 8 thumb screws. Some hard drive bays are fixed in the case. You slide the hard drives in from the back of the case, again making sure the cable connections are facing the motherboard, and secure the drives with 2 screws on each side. It's important to use all 4 screws for each drive. If the drives aren't secure, they will vibrate, which will increase the chance of failure and increase the noise the drives make. Other cages have sliders that put tension on each side of the hard drive and secure it to the bay. We'll connect the power and data cables later. In the next lesson, we'll install the DVD recordable drive into a 5 1/4 inch bay.